the first day of March. And get ready for this. We're going to set it up all green because we're growing, man. It's springtime. And next week, I'm telling you, next Monday kicks off this incredible summit, the Recruiter Growth Summit. You know it. Benjamin Mina in the house. What's up, buddy?
What is up, man? I am absolutely stoked. Don't laugh. I am nervous too, but I am just absolutely stoked about pulling together all these amazing speakers next week, and we'll start talking about them shortly. And it's going to be Monday through Friday, 2 sessions a day of just some of the top people in the space, just sharing, like just helping you grow. And I mean, you did green for growth this year. After 2023, I think for a lot of people, 2024 is going to be their best year yet.
You got it, man. You got it. And you know, it's kind of weird to see you on that side, man, because you're always on the side interviewing everybody else. Now it's time for me to hit you up with this incredible conference, man. I mean, this summit or whatever you want to call it, man, it's going to be insane. I tell you what, the speaker lineup, man, is just out there. So first, tell everybody about yourself, man, because I know everybody knows who you are, but for people that don't, give them the 2-minute tour, brother.
So don't laugh. I kind of enjoy kind of staying behind the scenes, and it's kind of hard to say that as a podcast host, but I'm normally the one asking the questions. But my name is Benjamin Mena. Me and my wife own Select Source Solutions. We're a recruiting company focused on government contracting. Most people have probably somehow run across me due to a small little podcast that we have called the
Time Out. It's not small, but go ahead.
I don't laugh at this. I feel like I know nothing about podcasts. I just know how to have a great interview, do some editing, kick it out there so that way people can hear it. I think we're running like 10 to 11,000 downloads a month. So,
dude,
but yeah, it's really just, it's a podcast really focused on having these conversations with amazing people in the industry and really just kind of like breaking down like what they're actually doing. And, you get the high level, how they got into the space, but then we do a lot of like tactical questions where I want to dig in and kind of go a level or two deeper to figure out what's making them tick. What are they actually doing? Because we see these like top billers. I have them break down their days. I have them break down their work ethic. I have them like do all sorts of stuff. I have them even break down like a lot of times their failures and the things that really just got them turned around. It's those stories that, it almost like it's the virtual mentorship that I wanted and I needed when I first got into recruiting. And I'll give you my recruiting story. Like most people fell into recruiting, worked at a staffing agency, a big one that starts with an A that many people have heard of. And they sent me
all the rest.
I kind of got sat down in my first few months there, and like they kind of gave me the heads up. They're like, nobody wants you on your team. You suck at this. Like you were probably like they were like, you're gonna get fired. Like you absolutely just suck at recruiting. And like they're like, the only reason why we haven't fired you is because you are putting in the work. So that was the only thing I knew how to do. Is like if they told me I had to hit a number of calls, I would hit that number of calls or I'd go higher. So like I knew how to do the work. I just wasn't understanding like what I had to do as a recruiter. Maybe I was just, I wanted to help everybody. We're in the job. We're helping people get jobs. So went out, got, a few glasses of wine that night. And it was just like, well, there goes my career. Can't even afford a car. Can't even afford this. Like,
yeah, brother.
Like my college career is like falling out. And I think that I don't know if this was the time where, it was around that time too, where I actually didn't even have a car. I was taking the bus like 2 hours, like an hour and a half each way to work and nobody knew it. So I'd get there beforehand and I would leave after everybody left. So that way, like nobody knew that I didn't have a car.
You have to be kidding me. You lived that like that, just double life a little bit about the car.
I mean, if you want to go laugh, my car was in the parking lot, but the engine blew up and I couldn't afford to tow it.
What a story. Holy.
So there was like a top producer, 2 top producers in our office, and there were some top producers across the entire company. The company shot out every Wednesday. Hey, these are the top 10 people in every division. So I just started cold calling people like in the lunch and after hours. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't like what, like, how are you like so high up there when nobody else is? Like, I think my spread was at like $5.
Yeah.
And people just kind of started like sharing with me, and I kind of started like virtually over the phone emulating and trying to learn and like rephrasing the conversations and reframing my thought on how I was supposed to do the job, reframing with this. And, luckily down the road, it helped me like, there were many months and weeks where I was like top 5, 1, 2, 3 on the chart in my division out there. So if it wasn't for those people, like years ago, I don't know where my career would be now. I don't know if I'd be a recruiter. I don't know like what if I'd be like a finance guy. My degree is economics, or an econ guy, or who knows where my path would have led. Is the time that those people spent helping me, kind of guiding me in just like a few minute conversations per day, completely shifted my career. And that's kind of like where the podcast kind of came from. Is like I wanted to like figure out like these stories and share the stories of how, so that way other people out there in my shoes could be like, okay, this is like a virtual mentor. And the coolest thing is like I've there's people that have quit jobs, launched careers, 6-figure billing because of the guests sharing on these podcasts. Like it's been kind of cool to see the success stories time and time again.
I love it.
It's not me. It's the guests that come on and share their heart and share their knowledge to really up-level the entire community. So
100%, brother. We're all here to make everybody else shine. These stories behind, if we can like help one person out, man, that's sitting there saying I'm the worst recruiter, because we've all had that. Trust me. Even myself, people call me and said, dude, Shark, you suck back in the day. Before I was the Shark, I'm like, one day you'll see. But we all have that. That's motivation. I always joke about it. Seriously, at the end of the day, if we can make an impact. And dude, your story, man, I tell you what, man, I've never heard that before with the car and everything. That's incredible. So, okay, so you have the podcast, and now we got this big summit coming up on Monday. How did you come up with this idea, man? Because I know you're sitting there and you're thinking you want to bring everybody together. Please tell me. I'm sure there's a good story behind this.
Dude, you ever have something that just bugs you at night, and it just bugs you for months on end, and you just can't get an idea out of your head?
Yeah.
Like, don't laugh. That's literally this idea that like I kind of like a lot of people. I hate, this is going to sound weird. A lot of people have this magical game plan about putting on like a large event. I feel like I don't. I could not get this idea out of my head. I'd be on runs. I couldn't get this idea out of my head. And so I started reaching out to a few people. I was like, hey, I'll host you. Like, let's do this. Would you be interested in being involved? And I get it. Like a lot of people said yes, because it's like great exposure. And I'm kind of like, don't laugh when we set this up. I was going to be so stoked if 25 people registered, and we're like just shy on like almost 300, or it might be over 300 now or something.
Dude,
of that nature.
I'm just going to give you a shout out. That is badass. Seriously, that's my key word for the last couple of weeks. Badass. No, Benjamin, what you've done, dude, you're like the most humble guy around, man. And look what happens, man. You got people just showing up to this event.
I mean, we got like, give you the quick rundown. We have like Brian Fink, Keely Flood, Kim Henderson, Madison Loomis, Scott Love. Oh, there we go. Breakdown. Will McGee, Diane Prince, Trisha Tampkin, Clark Wilcox, and David Stephen Patterson, which you could just see like his muscles in his arms.
Dude, he's all he's doing is bringing the game and the muscle, man. Seriously.
So, but yeah, and each one of them are going to be sharing. And let me give you the talk rundown. Here about this. Let me give you the talk rundown. On the first day, a 5-step framework for building an 8-figure recruiting business from somebody that has exited theirs for 28 million and has also sold multiple other companies within the space. Second one, going to be how to get great clients. Like the game has changed when it comes to recruiting, getting new clients in 2024. It has absolutely changed. And he's going to talk about the framework that he's used to get great clients, and also like some of the people that he's trained that have like had some like massive increases in revenue of going from like 20K months to 80K months. So he's going to talk about that. And then on Tuesday, did you know that you can hack the cloud for resumes?
I did not know that, but I'm sure Brian's the key for that, right?
Yeah. Brian's going to be like talking about how to hack the cloud for resumes. And like, even then, like, if we have some time at the end, he's going to do some like front end sourcing for some hard to fill positions. After that, Trisha Tampkin and Jason are going to be talking about AI for recruiters. And here's the thing, like real quick, we all talk about AI, like AI this, AI that, like we all have our AI programs. They hired a freaking prompt engineer to build out, like they pay an AI person to like help put the stuff together. So like they're absolutely the forefront of like actually making AI make you more money. Not just like, not just like, hey, I'm using AI and I'm cool now. It's actually using AI to actually increase the amount of placements and money that you're making. And then the next day, I'm sure you guys know Scott Love. He's a staple of the industry. He's so awesome. He lives like 10 minutes down the road, and we grab drinks like, throughout the year.
And plus he has other talents too. Isn't he like a painter or something like that? He does all kinds of
dude, the guy's like
books. I mean,
he's like back. He even sold his training company. He's back in the training business now, on top of sitting there crushing it with like, huge law firm deals. He's a like law firm recruiter, like partner level, talking like big biller, like absolute big biller. But he's going to talk about the secrets of a retained search.
Ooh.
So, and then Mr. Muscle Man himself, David Stephen Patterson, and huge shout out for DSP, because he actually helped me make the jump from being an internal recruiter to having our own firm. So a lot of like credit goes to him, Trisha, and Scott Love back in the day. But he's going to be talking to him about the MPC, and MPC like is like billions of dollars of revenue has like come about because of the MPC. But the cool thing is he's going to talk about like how to bring that up into 2024, and also like talking about flipping calls and like really just revolutionizing old school techniques and bringing it up to a modernized 2024. So, and then the next day, we actually have 3 sessions that day, the next day. So Madison Loomis, who is an internal recruiter, launched her own firm a year ago and is just absolutely crushing it. So, want to talk like somebody that's like fresh in the game, fresh, like active, like, just absolutely putting everything together. She's going to talk about like how to build out your Dream 100 or Dream 250 and utilize the tools to do that. So that way you can crush your first year too, or this year. And then after that, we have Kim, who's going to be talking about building client loyalty and retaining your top clients, because guess what? There's other recruiters out there trying to take your top clients. And
every day, every minute.
2024, you want to hug your favorite clients and keep them close, because one, you never know where the economy is going to go over the rest of the year. And that's a whole nother story for a whole other conversation another day.
Oh, that's for a 3-hour episode sometime, Ben.
Yeah, like don't get me started on macroeconomics and microeconomics with recruiting, because
that'll be the Shark After Dark. We'll do a midnight show for that.
Yeah. But she's going to talk about ways to actually keep your top clients that way. Like, I mean, any firm, whether you're a firm, whether you're working for a big firm, like you have your A clients and you want to keep those A clients, because those, like a few of those A clients, those great clients that Clark Wilcox is going to talk about getting, if you want to make good money, you have to keep them. So, and then we have Keely Flood is going to talk about if you plan to fail, you are planning. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And he's going to talk about building a sales system. He is probably one of the best people out there when it comes to actually the process behind the scenes. And it's not. And here's the crazy thing. Like if you go look at the story of like Kobe and all them and Michael Jordan, they weren't the greats because of some flashy, things they were doing, which they were pretty flashy. But behind the scenes, they were so systematic, methodical when it comes to the training and everything. And they had a system in place. And, actually don't laugh. Like once we're done with this live stream, I have a recruiting book club that's starting at 2 p.m. And one of the books that we're talking about is a book called Relentless, which is Tim Grover was actually the coach for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And he talks about the systems behind the scenes to be a top performer. And Keely's going to talk about building those systems. And then to top it off, we also have on Friday, Will McGee talking about positioning and productizing way to increase your revenue overnight. So there's like in the recruiting space, I know many people think of just like making a placement, but there are so many things that you can do at the end of the day to bring revenue into your business and into your recruiting firm. And it's really like, I hate the terminology. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but there are so many different ways that you can create revenue for your business rather than just waiting on that contingent placement. And to wrap it up, we have an elite recruiter panel. So we're
Nice.
like, I haven't really like added that to the thing yet. So you're actually going to be the first person I'm telling this like live, but like we got Rich Rosen and a few people like big billers and kind of like just doing a Q&A, like a live Q&A with these top billers. Like, and like the goal of this one is just like, asking questions and answering questions from the community that people just want to know. So that is the rundown. It is going to be a
Woo!
busy week. And don't laugh at this. I'm running all this behind the scenes. Like I don't have a speaking slot at all, which I kind of like somebody like was just like, what are you speaking? I'm like, I don't know. I forgot I need to speak.
You're just a host, man. That's all, right?
But my goal is also to get submittals next week too, while all this is happening.
I love it. So I got to tell you, so I love the format. So how did you come up with the format where it's not all day? It's for, a couple, 2 to 3 hours each day to keep everybody active.
So I don't laugh. I didn't even really, everybody, actually, a few people have asked this and I've kind of like, I didn't overthink this. I think the initial thing that I was looking at is like, I can't shut down for a full day half the time for a lot of these things.
Gotcha.
So at least in the morning, most of the time is my most productive. A lot of people is their most productive. So typically like, because we also have 3 different time zones in the US, that's why I kind of did a 1 p.m. and a 3 p.m. But most people can probably take a break to watch maybe at least one thing in the afternoon. I get it. Like most people can't shut down the entire week and watch everything, which is why like if you want to, the VIP package that's only like $49 pre thing just gets you a copy of all those recordings. So it's all these incredible speakers. But yeah, I've been to so many like virtual events that are just all day and I'm plugging in and out. And by the time I plug back in, I'm missing something. I miss this talk or this and that. I can almost never shut down a full day unless I've paid to fly out somewhere to do it. So that's why I kind of did like 2 talks per day in the afternoon. And that was just my thought process behind it.
Well, I love it because for me, it's great because you get up in the morning, you can do your work and then you tune in, in the afternoon or whatever time it kicks off. That's great because you're right. Them virtual conferences all day, I put it in the background, but I'm still working and making phone calls and everything else. So you're missing all the vital information.
Yeah. So that was just like my, don't laugh. I didn't overthink it. That was just kind of like, well, when I've been in a virtual conference.
No, seriously, that's great. So, okay. So the speakers, Benjamin, how did you come up with this dream team of speakers here? I mean, because you have them from all walks of life.
So like part of it is a little bit of like the political or social, it's a social capital that I've built with the podcast. So I just dropped like episode 131 for the podcast. And some of these speakers have been returning guests multiple times. And, I am letting everybody like this is your business too. Like whatever you want to share, like share your stuff too. So it's also a huge benefit for them, but it was just people that I've, gone on and, and here's the thing about it being a podcast guest. Like a lot of times people think it's just something easy. They show up, it's awesome. And you just share it. But behind the scenes, like it's a lot of work to host somebody. Like, I'm doing like audio cleaning, I'm doing audio editing, a little bit of video editing here and there. Like my sourcing time, like I have like blocked out sourcing time where I'm also at the same time editing audios for the podcast. So there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. And, I've, combination of like trying to just ask some good questions and shut up. So, I've created these friendships over this time and even before the podcast started. And this is kind of like, I don't know, this is going to sound dumb, but like, hey, would you guys want to be part of this? Like, I want you to be part of this as a thank you for also the influence that you've had in my life.
Love, man, that is amazing. And you know what, real quick, the podcasting, I tell everybody, maybe you can anybody's watching this and it's going to be on the show next week or whatever like that. Podcasting is the way to do it. Don't you think every recruiter should have a podcast?
Oh,
don't have to be big, just small.
You can like be having a podcast is like the back end super weapon. Like when it comes to building authentic relationships, it is like, I don't have time to have another industry podcast at the moment, just with everything until like I hire actually hire for podcast help. But it is like, you can have a successful industry podcast on 1 to 2 hours per week. And it is, when I started my first podcast in 2020 or first started podcasting in 2020 versus 2024, there are so many artificial intelligence tools that can help like do a lot of the work for you. Like it doesn't do everything perfectly. Like there's like, I use an editing tool called Descript because I couldn't figure out how to use Adobe and all the other ones. It was just too complex.
Yeah.
It actually transcribes the podcast like a Word document, and I can edit it like a Word document. So it has AI where it can like pull out the filler words. But here's the problem. Not everybody talks slow. And I tried that once and it sounded like a crappy chopped up podcast.
Are you referring to
don't wanna-
me? I'm just joking.
Oh no, it's me. It's
The
like,
sharks talk.
I put all my words together, and like so like if it tries cutting out that um's in in place of a few things, so it destroys the other word. But like, you know, I have that up, and I just take out some stuff like while I'm sourcing resumes. So that's a killer one. And then when it comes to like video stuff, like you can actually just drop a video in like Opus Pro, and it just uses AI to eat it, and now you have social media clips. And here's the thing about a podcast. So like the podcast, like I'm talking now, but most of the time I'm not talking that much on the podcast. And you know that as
I know it.
as an example, Rich. But you can have an industry guest in, like a hiring manager, a VP of a company. You're asking all the questions. He's answering the questions. He's making him you're making him look like a rock star. You're asking great actionable questions, and you can use like Opus Pro to create clips, share those clips on LinkedIn. And now his entire network, you're making him look like a rock star inside of his entire network. And in turn, it's giving you the spotlight back on you because you created that relationship, and you're the one actually asking those good questions. And you're the one, you're getting highlighted because you're highlighting other people, and people see that. So one of the benefits of the podcast is like, we've had people in our space that are just like, hey, like I already know you. And I'm like, I don't know you, but I'm reaching out to you. But because of the omnipresence that sharing other people's stories has created on social media.
Dude, you hit it right on the head. We're like the core, like in bodybuilding, I always say, we're the core and push everybody else out there. And you're seriously right. Everybody that I've had on as a guest, and probably you too, they just love it. They're like, oh, you made me feel so important. I had a guest on this week, first podcast ever. And it was great because we held her hand. I'm like, don't worry. You know, you're just like me, man. I'll talk the way through it. You know, there'll be no space. There'll be no dead time. And I think that's something that we all need. It builds up even like our character, and it also builds up our self-esteem. Seriously, some of these people have never been on video. And Benjamin, if we can grab their hand and put them on video, dude, it could change their life, their career.
I mean, yeah. And it's like, think about this as another thing. Like, there are so many tools out there that right now, like that utilize AI, like AI is crafting the message. AI is crafting the sequence behind the message. AI is writing these things. Everybody knows they're in everybody knows they're in a drip campaign.
Dude, it's live. Do whatever you want, man. Shit.
Yeah. Everybody like knows like AI is kind of like personalized a little bit. How do you be different? How do you be authentic? And video helps with that authenticity.
Dude, 100%. And that's why my shit's always live. So you never know what's going to happen out of my mouth, man. I don't record. Dude, you do all that edit stuff. I'm like, dude, we're out here. It's a live platform, and that's how it rolls. But so, I mean, it's so refreshing for all this good stuff that you got coming next week. I mean, and what I have to say is there's something for everybody. You hit I'm going to tell you, me just looking at the agenda, Benjamin, everything that is on there hits a recruiter in one way or the other. Seriously. I mean, from the mind over matter, which I got to talk about that real quick. I mean, like you said about Michael Jordan, I'm going to say Tom Brady, like his mindset, why he won 7 Super Bowls is because his mindset. And if you can have that positive mindset in recruiting, staffing, you could be untouchable. Seriously, you really can.
Oh yeah. When it comes to mindset, like it's an action game, but at the same time, like you add action with the right mindset. Like I think we could spend all day talking about literally the impact of mindset that it has on every single conversation. It just bleeds through. It's like passion. It bleeds through into the conversation. It bleeds through into your work. People pick it up. Hey, like if you're looking at the day Staffing Shark and you're just like, man, today sucks. Today sucks. I hate today. And then you pick up the phone with a candidate and like it comes across. Your energy comes across, like everything comes across. But if you pull the Staffing Shark energy, it's infectious. It's a different conversation. They hear it. You're just not another recruiter.
Nope. You know what? Every call is like Kenny Chesney. I'm on stage. I'm performing for the audience. That's how I think. Seriously. Every phone call, it's like I'm ready to sing a song to them, and you bring that energy because you never know what's behind the other side of the phone, you know?
But yeah, next week's going to be super exciting. I feel like I'm going to have to do this again. Maybe I'll be a little better with the marketing and that kind of stuff. But it's cool just like seeing these people that I respect come together. And the coolest thing also, like, don't have this, buddy, like people that I respect also saying they're excited about showing up.
Isn't it like, no, seriously, man. I got to tell you before we wrap it up, man. I mean, you are well respected in the industry. I love you as a brother, man. That's why I did this together at the last minute. You know, it took me some time. I got to throw this up here, but Benjamin, this wasn't easy, man. You know that. You made this hard for me, man, to pull all these pictures together. I was like, and behind the scenes, I was like, Benjamin, do you have anything that I can put together? And he's like, no. I'm thinking, whew. So I put this together, and off record, I sent it to him, and he's like, woo, wow, great. I'm thinking, does that mean he likes it or what? Can we go with this? Can I post this? Because it's his show. So I'm like, but it turned out great, man. You know, and I'm here to support you. And it was kind of funny last night. Last night I'm typing this all in. I'm thinking, he's making me work.
And don't laugh. I think like, you know, the combination of like running a podcast, running a desk, recruiting myself, and running an event and that kind of stuff, you know, probably bit off a little more than I could chew. There are people out there that their entire job is just to do this. And I'm like, you know, also with a new baby in the house, like, all right, got another plate. I'm spinning it.
So what is your secret? Do you drink a lot of coffee? Is that what it is, or what? Or protein shakes?
I am a coffee during the day, and I am a wine drinker at night.
Oh, so a lot of these thoughts came from wine, right? Can we?
My main thoughts come from either when I'm out for a run or when I'm drinking wine. Like I call them dumb ideas, and like my wife says I need to like rename it, but don't be afraid of implementing a dumb idea. And what a dumb idea means to me is like this: when you have an idea like kind of in the back of your head that is just like you can't let it go. The only way it's going to free you is by actually going out and doing it.
Yes.
Because if not, it is going to be like a thorn in your side, in your brain. That's going to bug you. So that's where some of these like weird outlandish things, like setting up a conference on my own and, you know, podcasts. That's really like, that's kind of where it comes from. It's just like this idea that just bugs you in the back of your head. And, you know, maybe it's because like, you know, it's supposed to, there's somebody on the other side that's going to be impacted by it. And that's the whole reason why you're supposed to be doing it.
I love it. So, okay. So like 7 years ago, would you think you'd be doing this right now? Seriously, like take us back with the car situation again. Like, did you ever think you'd be doing a podcast, a conference with 300 people plus?
Don't laugh at this. Like that. I've been recruiting almost 2 decades now.
Jesus. Holy cow. So I'm a young buck. I've only been in for 10 years. This is my 10th year. Wow.
Like it was I think I got my offer at the end of 2020, the end of 2005.
Man. Hey, you know what? Isn't it amazing? One day I would love to just take a step back and go every year and almost like, I wish I had pictures and video and see how we progressed over the years and some of the dumbass stuff we did back in the day and some of the companies we worked for. It was like, we should just walked away after day one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like, it's funny just like kind of looking back and one, like how things have changed. And like in the podcast, one of the things I ask two pieces of like in the actionable side of the podcast, like what advice would you give to a new recruiter? And then the second one is like, what advice would you give to a recruiter that's been like, you know, around the block 5, 10, 20 years. And I, like, every time I say that, I'm like, shit, it's almost been 20 years for me. 20 years as a recruiter, 20 years, almost 20 years I've been in this industry.
20 years. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know where, I don't think I would have ever thought about this, but technology has changed. So who knows what like, it's going to be a few years from now, but I will say the creating relationships with the podcast has been an absolute game changer. It has completely opened up my world. And it is just like, it's cool to like see like so many things and so many people winning and like so many ways that you could go win.
100%. And you know what? This industry is loving and caring. We all came from other industries, but I'm going to tell you, when we found staffing, it was like I fell in love with it, man. It was my first love. I'm going to be honest with you, man. And no, seriously, it is. It's something that's rewarding, brother.
I hated it.
You did? Really?
I hated it. I hated recruiting.
I would never tell. Come on now. I know you don't now, but I mean,
I had to learn how to love it. See, I love the people that are just like, I love this. I love this. I've always loved it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I had to actually learn how to love it. And when I learned how to love it, my entire future changed.
Did anybody teach you that, or did you teach yourself?
I mean, I think like great people kind of rubbed off on me, but also like when it comes to at the end of the day, like how are you reframing the way that you're looking at things? Because how you're framing it has impact on everything that you do.
Yes. 100%. All right, brother, man. I love how we had the behind the scenes, man. I got to bring you on again and just talk about yourself, man. But this is all about the summit. So we're going to put it in the comments here, how to register. They can still register, right? VIP or free, right?
Register. It's 100% free. If you want a copy of the recordings, pre-event, it's like $49. During the event, I think it's like $59, and post-event, it's like $99. But I mean, for some of these like people coming, just like an hour of their time, or even showing up to one of their things, is like hundreds and thousands of dollars, and like they're sharing their secrets for free. So, sign up, share it with a friend. It's going to be fun, and I'm so excited. Maybe next year I'll try to figure out what I should probably talk about, but at the same time, like, I'm not used to having the focus on me. I'm so used to
Come on. Okay, Shy Guy. Before we go, man, we're going to keep rolling here because I know you got another appointment. But you know what? The funny thing is, though, next year, did you say 3,000 people in person somewhere? Is that what you said?
No. So I actually, I do want to do like, this is kind of also like, maybe this is like where things want to go, but I used to host, take a step back. I actually used to host a bunch of in-person events in the running community. So I would put on races, put on stuff.
Yeah.
Actually brought together the entire city of Tampa I put together a corporate 5K and built out all these like industry teams and industry levels. Like I think like 1,100 people showed up to that. It was like something like 250 different corporations like registered and had a blast. So like I enjoy putting people together. And I think that's kind of where, this is also having fun leading is like, where I now can not only put people together, but I can put people together that's really going to help a lot of people grow and level up and have a huge direct impact on their financial situations. And because it's going to have a huge direct impact on their financial situations, lives can be changed. So
dude,
we'll do something in person.
With it. Are you going to be in Wedding Planner Part 2? I think you should just be a wedding planner. But no, I got to tell you straight up, man, this is incredible. I can't wait till next week. You know what? There's something for everybody. Make sure in the comments there, we're going to have it when we post this, man, to register, help Benjamin out. He's helping everybody out. And what I love about it, the speakers you have real quick here, if you're an attendee, reach out to them. They'll add you to their network. Dude, I know pretty much most of them on there. Dude, Muscle Man will get you all pumped up. You got Kim Henderson. You got Scotty Love, you got, Brian. The thought thinker Brian is, man. And I got to tell you real quick, Brian's in-laws are from my hometown in Pittsburgh. Is that a small world? Yeah. He's like, did you know where Fox Chapel was? I lived there for 13 years, dude. Like right down the road. Is that crazy how small this network is of people? It's amazing.
Man, at the end of the day, like it really is just such a small world. And, if you're a recruiter, like listening to this, like, do something in 2024, like, have a conversation with some of these guests, like reach out to them. Like these people, like, have like changed people's lives by pouring their knowledge into them. So yeah, don't be afraid to like, hey, I know you're talking, just want to follow you. Can't wait for your talk.
I love it. I add everybody, unless you're somebody trying to sell me something, dude, add us all, man. It's all. Hey, Benjamin, thank you again so much, man. I can't wait till next week. Next Monday, it kicks off there. Dude, you're the best, man. I love you, brother, and stay tough, man. And we'll talk next week, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
make sure. Go ahead, man.
Church, man.
Hey, right now, remember, people, sign up for this. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be so much fun. Remember, it's all about green and growing. Cheers, my buddy.
Cheers.